And I'm going to check real quickly. I'm going to pull up I'm going to make sure that I'm not broadcasting all my DM stuff. Let me pull up. Okay, good. Looks like I'm not. All right. Doing all right, Jared?
Yeah.
Tired? Maybe?
No, just gathering my mind.
Yeah.
I've had a fairly scattered day as well.
It also feels like 10:30 to me for some reason.
The daylight savings thing, maybe?
Yeah, but 10:30, it should be 8:30. So.
Okay. Well, here we go. Let me pull up my Google Drive. We're a little bit late, but it's okay. We're way better than last time, and I'm getting into the flow here of setting all this up, which is great. So, let me pull up my... Oh, sorry, we are streaming, right? Yeah, we're streaming.
Is it just me, or is my shirt like flashing red and brown and red and brown?
It is.
Look like
That's the camera adjusting, trying to get the lighting right.
Okay.
And when anything significant shifts, that's pretty cool.
For somebody, you are cool.
Can't see it.
Good.
That's flippin' fantastic. You're a Christmas ornament.
Yeah.
And very bright.
Some people pay to have shirts that
Oh,
pop.
I see it. The camera can't decide what color your shirt is.
I don't know what to do about that.
I wonder
It
if
depends on whether Dwight is in the frame or not, because he blocks a little bit of light that's Anyway, never mind.
And with gray.
It's actually a
Doesn't
genuine.
matter.
behind Jared or real bright. I think it's like
Oh no, it's
is there
not
a
Dwight.
person there.
Test. Okay. I'm going to start recording right now. Edit.
This can make me
New
laugh.
file.
Myself.
Where's the record button? Oh, there it is. Start recording.
As much as I do to be invisible.
Okay.
Just to-
And now that I have started recording, I realized I need to... I'll be right back.
Trying to flash Deathly Hallows gang signs.
I've never seen any of those movies except for Wizard People Dear Reader. But I did see like 5 minutes of the Riff Tracks guys making fun of one of the other movies. And I was like, huh?
The Riff Track guys.
Yeah, the guys from MST3K.
Oh, gotcha.
I was like, huh, that looks like a real... They made some real movies.
Gotcha.
Real Hollywood movies. They weren't just playing around.
Did you do anything interesting today, Jacob?
We had Warrior Challenge, which was a fundraiser thing.
Nice.
That?
Yeah. This was a custom shirt design thing for, we had a contest to see who could make up the best shirt costume design thing for,
Nice.
for
Like
Warrior
a graphic
Challenge.
design?
Yeah.
Cool.
Have you started making your sword yet?
No, that's like senior year kind of
gotcha.
thing.
I feel like you gotta fold the steel a bunch of times though, so they should start.
That makes it a lot tougher and a lot more expensive. So it'll
yeah, but
probably
if you
just
do
be
it
a normal
yourself,
Yeah, you have to start folding it now.
yeah. Actually, just with your hands, you don't even get to use a hammer.
There's
No
also
gloves.
some
Yeah.
eggnog in here, and then a couple of
I think
these.
Oh,
Somebody
thanks.
wants, so help yourself.
If you
He's-
can't do it without
what you
the
should say
hammer.
is, I'm in the process of sharpening my sword as iron sharpens iron, but it will take a few years.
So I sharpen you.
Somebody did the math, and you have to kill about 250 people and exsanguinate them to get enough iron from their blood to forge a sword from the blood of your enemies.
It really only takes one. You just gotta wait and extract the
A little
blood
at a time.
systematically.
Yeah.
Isn't the iron in
gross.
chemical bonds with all sorts of stuff in your
Sure.
blood?
Yeah,
Check
but
it out.
nothing you can't get out through fire.
All right. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
I'll go for one of those guys. Good.
Matthew doesn't appreciate the theoretical
I
mix
got
of
cucumbers.
carbon and nickel.
I really feel like they should remove mint from the name of this because all I taste is cucumber.
I'm going to do a podcast episode sometime on. I really like the notion and the importance of sympathizing with superstitious peoples, especially ancient superstitious us. And in particular, two of them in particular are the idea of magic in a forge. Sorry, what's up?
Sorry, I was just going to get my snack for school tomorrow.
Go for it. You're a good boy. Magic in forging. And I know this is taking a little bit of stream time, but just to say, when you make iron implements, the way it works is you get your iron, right? Let's say you've got some good grade iron, maybe it's been refined, and you make it and you can hammer it into horseshoes or whatever. Well, the way you make it change its properties, because iron just has the properties of iron if it's pure, right? The way you change its properties is you add carbon, and that makes different kinds of steel. The ratio of carbon, you can put other stuff into, but especially carbon to iron. So it turns out that if you're melting a bunch of steel and stuff, and you take a bunch of carbon, which is most commonly found in things like plants and stuff, you grab a whole bunch of this kind of leaf, these kinds of stuff,
Like charcoal.
like you can use charcoal too, and you shove it into the melting iron, right? What comes out, the metal that comes out, is going to have different properties than normal swords or horseshoes or...
Yeah, that does sound very magic.
Yeah, and so you're looking for an explanation, right? And your blacksmithy, your line, your trade from their town knows some recipes. These plants, that charcoal, this stuff over here, and you put them in these proportions. Don't tell other smiths, and it makes such and such. And yeah, you're going to get a magical-esque world.
Charcoal's the best.
That is to say, magic
The charcoal
is
smith beats the other ones by a lot.
that is magic, in a manner of speaking, is a scientific explanation. Where scientific means people aren't just making up random garbage. They're looking
So,
at the
Robert,
world and trying to figure it out.
have you read The Golden Bough?
I have not.
You might enjoy it.
I'll check it out. The other one I was going to say that's interesting is the notion of curses, and especially generational curses. If you have a kid who has some kind of thing, some kind of tumor or issue or something
You should
like that.
definitely read The Golden Bough.
Hemophilia.
Deal.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the idea, right, is if you... So they would often kill those kids, right? And wait for a kid that didn't have that issue. Wait for, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that kid actually is more likely, depending on the thing, depending on the disorder, to have a kid with that same disorder. And it does look a lot like a curse. So, that's not right. That's not the right way to say it. One way of interpreting that passing down is that it's a curse. That's what a curse is. And you can stop the curse by stopping the line. It's really interesting.
I mean,
Just saying.
Do you remember our discussions at St. John's
Which
on
ones?
the origin of species, where everyone was constantly
Yeah.
going back to Lamarckianism as what they thought Darwin was saying was happening?
Even now,
Yeah.
I watch the news. I'll stop ranting in a second. But even now, I watch whatever I'm watching, and consistently, everybody says the eagle developed the eyesight in order to catch the...
Yeah.
They are always saying that. Instead of being, more rigorous about it and saying, this, according to the worldview...
The eagle developed the eyesight because all the dim-eyed eagles were killed.
Or even just, the eagles have sharp eyesight, and it helps them with this.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it propagates because of the death of them. I'm all right. I can't read it right.
We need dice.
I
As
do
a
need
Christian,
dice.
wouldn't you have to call
I mean, I can
all
roll.
systemic breakdowns curses because of the biblical curse of Genesis 3? I mean, everything systemically broken is cursed.
I'm getting dice, but talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, Josh, it's a good point.
Do you think a belief in Bigfoot, Josh, is superstitious adjacent?
For many people, it is almost purely superstitious. For me, having spent the time and effort that I've spent to be convinced by scientific evidence, I would say that it is not at all superstitious for me. But I would say it is very, very superstitious for some people.
It's just a little stitches.
All right, I'm
That's a good
back.
answer.
I brought some dice for my hit point rain stick here. Let me give
You're
y'all
an evil
some.
man.
Y'all can use those. I will also grab a few of them. I also was slightly stalling because just in case I'm not quite fully prepared, we'll fill our time now. Just to be candid. And I'll grab, actually, let's do this so they look really different. All right. Let's get into it. Episode intro. Just going to confirm that we're recording. And good. All right. This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective as well as the stories we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. We're back with a new episode. This is our second episode with a number of us in person. Those of you listening, you can also feel free to watch us stream live on YouTube, henceforth, I think.
Currently on Twitch, but
moving to YouTube or maybe somewhere else too. I'm Sir Robert Burbridge, a father and entrepreneur, and I am the host of this season's story. With me tonight are friends playing the game with me. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character you're playing. Why don't we start with the remote crew and then come in person? Josh?
Hi, my name's Josh. I am playing Inkatink, Kinku, who is a raven humanoid or a ravenoid human. And he has many voices, but not one. He is able to emulate the speech of others and replicate things that he sees with his hands, but has no voice of his own and is really, really stressed out at the moment and lamenting that lack of a voice.
All right. I like that phrasing of it. Many voices, but not one. Diamondback, Matt.
Hey, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew Talamini. I'm playing the shirtless wizard, Diamondback.
All right.
M as in Mancy, Gary Mancy. Sorry.
Patrick.
If I had a nickel for every time that my mom said the phrase "N as in Nancy" over the phone.
Go, Carol.
Yeah,
My name is Patrick. I am playing the half-orc druid Toll, and I was recently devastated to learn that the Burger King was not a real person like Colonel Sanders.
Was that Patrick or Toll was devastated by that?
Well, Patrick's devastation may extend into Toll's characterization.
That's fair. That's probably what causes angst in this world. Okay. Did you want to say anything about Toll?
Yeah, I said he's a half-orc and a druid, and he's starting to become friends with Yoshika, who's teaching him how to wrestle to his great half-orc shame. He does not know how to wrestle already.
How does he like his huge, shaggy, white mammoth cape?
I don't think y'all actually got the chance to give that to him yet, did you?
I thought we did. I did in my heart.
Doesn't count.
So I found out, by the way, that we'll get to the rest of you guys in a minute, but I found out there are rules in Dungeons & Dragons for what's called downtime. I don't know if I found that out last time when y'all told me, or maybe LT did.
Matt mentioned it.
Matt mentioned it. Okay, well, then I will say we can make use of that. But why don't we go with the people here? Dwight, whose arms you saw. Wait, why don't we start on this side? Jared.
Hey, I'm playing Yoshika. He's a stocky northerner. Looks kind of like a sturdy Russian gypsy. And he was raised on the songs and the stories of the old blood.
And you may actually be a Heartherner.
Heartherner,
Now
yes.
you're...
Yeah, so this is kind of his childhood fairyland that he's now in.
All right. And Jacob.
I am Jacob Burbridge, and I will be playing not Splint. He died.
Like you do around here.
Yeah. And I will be playing Talad Roth Orvin, and he has recently the Talad Roth Orvin, the Master of Stonework.
And Talad's father's name is Roth. That's the Roth in Talad Roth Orvin. And he's an apprentice mason, or like, does he focus on building or art, or maybe he doesn't have a focus yet?
Mostly art.
Okay, so he likes making. That's great. Aaron.
Airjoy, playing Neno. She's old and half-sized, and was so excited to get to this awesome underground community, and then that rapidly flipped her 180 degrees, and now she feels more isolated and alone than she has felt at any point on this journey since she got kicked out of her village.
And did that happen? When in this time that you've been here in Orvin, when did that happen, or when did you notice? When did Nana notice that?
When no one in what is obviously her deity's home turf seemed to know of her deity, and they instead worship somebody else. And the rest of her crew is just so happy and enthralled, and enthralled is a loaded word here, but
sure,
happy to be with this awesome community that there's not even any ambiguity about who they would team with, the real god or this usurper who's trying to take over what should belong to hers.
And if you want to say something briefly, feel free not to either if you don't want to for some reason, but anything about Neno's god that is relevant to this that caused that feeling?
Sure. Neno is a devotee of the god of underground water, and so it was just so exciting to be able to get underground, and there's just water on the walls and things that grow from underground water, and the tunnels keep going down, and who knows how close she could be getting to his heart. But as Talad led them down what should be closer and closer to her, to the object of her dearest affections, there was actually worshipful art on the walls, and it seemed like the closer she got to her god, the more obviously some other god was being worshipped, and it's given her trouble.
He has no domain in his own domain.
And he said he has no domain in his own domain. And Neno didn't know, doesn't have a name she's sharing of her god.
Right.
Okay. However, the denizens here of Orvin have been literally singing the praises of Cinderella, who, as they say, owns all of this: the forest above, the animals, the caves below, the waters, and that's distressing. All right. And Dwight.
Hey, I'm Dwight. That's spelled D as in Dwight, W as in white, I as in ite, G as in
Oh yeah, I can't wait for this one. How's that
H
pronounced?
as in and T as in
But no ends.
no ends. There's
right.
no Nancy in my name.
Curiously, let's not say specifically whose, but someone here's last name has a silent N. All right. Well, let's get into it.
I have a real quick question.
Yeah.
So this D100 thing here, it can roll a 1 to a 100.
Yes.
So what?
If you prefer.
So the 0 is 10. Why don't they just put a 1 on there and make it 10?
Custom.
I don't know.
When does the 0 yield a 0? So like 100 is 90 and 0, right?
No, 100 is
100
0, 0.
No, that.
Well, you can.
So wait, 0, 0, and 1 is 1, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a 0 on there, you can also use these dice in conjunction to generate a n decimal number. If it doesn't say 10, if it just says 0.
Gotcha. Okay, so 100 is 1, 0, 0. But then, no, sorry. 0, 0, 0 is 100.
Yeah.
And then 1, 0, 0 is 1.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or 0, 0, 1.
Okay, so it is on here, when you're rolling here, it's 0 is 0.
Yeah.
All of you filthy humans are butchering binary.
That's why you should get one of these.
Yeah.
One of those balls.
Spheres.
In case you need to choke a horse.
All right. So, let's get started. Past couple episodes have been focused on some narrative, some role play. This one's going to continue that because there's an event coming. It's taken a little while getting there, but I do want to set the scene nicely, and I'm going to do that a couple of times in the story because there are fun things going on. Previously, in Oravan, the party was shown around by Talad. Talad has been kind of playing two roles for them. He's showing them around their compound, whatever you'd like to call it, a system of underground caves that has a few hundred people in it. So it's not gigantic, but it's large enough for them to live there. They rarely go out. They do have some people in their town who do go out. They refer to them sometimes as scouts or things like that. And they also have a very, very select few outsiders who know about them and come in. Apparently, some of our avid listeners will remember Garriott knew about them in general. Has he met them? We don't know. Has he been there? That never exactly came up. But he does know about them, and he's aware of them. And as a matter of fact, he has one of their barrels that they produce in his town. They produce 4 towns. Yoshika's people, the Menoan Wayfarers, are regular guests in Orvan. Not all the people, but when they come through on a part of their circuit, some of Yoshika's people, including his father, would go in and be welcomed in, and they would do trade or whatever they did, right? And Yoshika knows about them, and he's been sort of around, but he's not. This is Yoshika's. You tell me this is Yoshika's first time really seeing. Okay, he's heard stories, but he hasn't seen stuff going on. And so it's a pretty secluded place. There are a couple of key things that y'all would have noticed having heard Garriott talk a little bit about it. Having heard Garriott talk a little bit about it, having heard Yoshika say things and tell you stories, slowing down for podcast. There are a couple of things that y'all would have noticed. One is they have an underground forest. It's not a huge forest. It's a wood. They cultivate some trees. They use them. They cut their barrels. It keeps them from having to go up above to get wood, and then have industry up there that would possibly give away location. They also have this moss, which has some special properties. Yoshika could tell you more about that if anybody were to ask him, I suppose, if anybody's interested. And that seems to be the main thing that they do. Also, from somewhere, they have this fluid that was the magic stuff in the barrel that you poured on the rock up top, and it let them know that you were here. Yoshika also has some inkling about that, as well as Talad could have told you some of those things. But basically, that fluid is a kind of extract from the moss. The moss plays a couple of functions there. Well,
point of order. We have seen in the past that the moss does something to hide or occlude magical.
That's right.
Perceptions or something. I don't think we've gotten a detailed breakdown, but we know that it helps the towns hide somehow.
Yeah, you know, essentially, I'll tell you at a very broad level what you've seen, and Yoshika could tell you more detail or something, but essentially it has a sort of dampening effect on the magic, and also it seems to absorb some of the mist. Right? So perhaps that has to do with the extraction of this dark fluid that seems magical. The other thing you know about the Orvan from Yoshika is that they are arcanists of a kind, but they specialize in illusion and especially in hiding things, hiding talents, helping conceal things. They have spent a lot of energy. Yoshika has told you. When I say energy, I mean time and work. Learning all about detection magics and things like that. Okay. So our party came down and they met a number of people. Probably the most prominent of whom is the leader of the whole place, named Elephine. Elephine is you could think of him as the elder of this place. He's an older man, older than Nenna, but not decrepit. He's just,
Nenna's feelings are hurt.
Yeah, she's like 80, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So and she's a gnome, so that's not very old for her, but for a human, that's pretty old. So he's somewhat older than Nenna, but you can't necessarily, you don't know by looking how old he is, of course. But he seems to be in good health, and his voice is a little wavery, as it sometimes happens, but he seems to be doing fine. They are getting ready for a celebration, and you've been invited to join, especially apparently because of the unexpected, auspicious presence of one of the Menowans. They weren't expecting back for a while. They also have another guest. You don't really recognize him. It's a guest and his maybe valet or something, whatever he is. But who just attends to him. This guest seems to be good friends with Elephine and has an injured hand. This is what you know about him. He has an injured hand, and he wears normal-ish clothing, but he has some kind of outer garment, like a cloak. It could be the kind of thing somebody would sleep in if they were camping. Not that there's a lot of camping, but it could be that kind of thing. And he seems pretty comfortable. He had a conversation with Diamondback in which Diamondback said some strange things to him that he found something. My dishwasher is beeping a whole bunch.
Open the door, would it?
Yeah, that'd be great. It just means it's done, but it is really earnest about letting us know. Thanks. That's good. But Diamondback basically, if you recall, told him some kind of incoherent. It was really fast, and he just met the guy, and the guy's doesn't know what's happening exactly. But Diamondback told him something about a way of casting magic without components. And the guy was just unsettled and kind of put a little distance between him. For some reason, though he himself did not notice, he was disconcerted. Also, one member of the party started flipping around and doing cartwheels. He wasn't sure what was happening with that. He was kind of a little off-put by the party, not in a terrible way. He just went back to get his distance and maybe try to understand you from afar. He is not used to seeing, when he comes to Oravan, he's not used to seeing other people, though he recognized the Menowan garb of Yoshika. So, let's get into it. You went back to your quarters, your lodging, and went to sleep it was, as before, uneventful, and as before, you had a... Sorry?
Dreamed?
You had a good night's sleep. Actually, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. But you had a good night's sleep, and unlike the times when you've been up above on the, let's call it, ground, which is starting to be a little ambiguous. When you were on the ground, you would often wake up from hearing the breaking of a twig or rustling in the leaves, and it's really silent down here. And also, there's no light in the morning to wake you particularly. You just wake when you're refreshed, which is nice. But please get a D20, and we are going to find out about the dream you had.
Oh, I don't need the dream. I already saw the whole thing.
Did you?
No.
Ooh, look at me. I'm
you need
fancy
D20?
lad. I see the
I got it
whole
for you.
dream.
But I was able to recognize my friend Thunk's. Wait, no.
Thunk.
Gold?
Thack.
Gulb. My friend Gulb's
That's
special
different.
rune in
That's
the
right.
magic that was destroying the woods.
That's right. Okay.
But congratulations, if I die, I will be coming back as Thunk.
That's right. So what I want you to do, we're going to play the same way again, and I'm zeroing in on exactly how to make this the right fairness. Our difficulty here is going to be 9. You're trying to roll better than a 9 or better to continue.
Start.
No, you don't need to yet. You're going to hear the first part
No matter what.
all the way.
First taste is free.
So it's nighttime and you dream, and Talad, you're having this dream as well. In the dream, you find yourself feeling as though you wake up and look around, but no one is around with you. It's not alarming. It's just peaceful. So a little bit of solitude. You're in your stone quarters here in this new place, and it's light enough from the lights that are around. It looks as though it may actually be something like their version of Twilight. Maybe it's when they're ready to start dimming those lights. And you walk into the main square. The stone, the dome of stone, just arches high above you, and you can smell the dampness of the air that has become comforting to you. You can tell there's not places where breezes and other things could blow through. The moss lines the walls, kind of receding into the darkness where the lights have dimmed, and you walk towards the center of the cavern. Looking up, you notice something you hadn't really noticed before. There's almost a kind of flue, a hole in the top of this cavern. And right at the top of it, you see something that looks familiar. That's not your reaction. Canonically, that's not your reaction. Roscoe. And you see, in something that's familiar to you, but Talad is not super familiar to you, you can see what looks like tufts of grass or something over the edge of the hole, and fireflies sort of drifting upwards. Roll me your D20. So 9 or better, stay.
6.
5.
As far as you know.
I had 20 like 5 minutes ago when you told us to get the D20 ready. Can I keep that?
You may.
I got an 18, which I'm hoping counts for my next 2 9 or higher rolls.
Just the one. Okay. If you rolled a lower than a 9, just
I got a 6.
plug your ears or whatever.
Almost.
Okay. You look up and you see that there's that hole, and the fireflies are on this sort of, you can see the little bit of the grass kind of leaning over, and it's almost as though there's a kind of cave up there, a cave floor up there as well. It's like the grass is almost moss. And above that you can see beautiful things. Looking higher, there are leaves that are creating another layer above that, like a cave ceiling high up. And strangely, there's a flue up there as well. And on that flue, you see the same kinds of fireflies drifting slowly upwards. Could there be another cave floor even above that?
Further up and further in. Let's go.
Roll me your d20. 9 or better stays.
Oh, 5.
All right. You gaze upward. You can make out the great canopy high, high above. It's surprising. You shouldn't be able to see it, but somehow you feel comfortable. And you notice that it, too, seems to have a clearing above. And little twinkling fireflies way up there, almost as though it, too, is another canopy, another firmament high above. Slowly your gaze drifts down, and you see the canopy with the fireflies, and down, and you see the grass with the fireflies, and down, and you're back in the cave. You're focused here. And you see a floating shape, a symbol, a glyph in front of you. It flickers white and blue with licks of yellow and orange coming up from the bottom. It seems to be floating before you, an ethereal symbol of you're not sure what. Roll me a d20 with a DC 18. You can stay, but don't. You're not. This part's not for you. And Patrick. The rest of you guys. If you got a 18 or higher, you can stay. If you got lower than an 18, don't stay. You recognize this symbol. Diamondback, are you still in?
I'll take that as a no.
No? Okay. I think it might just be you, Jared.
Yeah.
You recognize this symbol, Jared. You've actually seen it in 2 places before, besides the Gulb thing. You remember this from your father, something, almost like something he would draw. Sometimes it was a little different, but it definitely was this. But you also remember it from the hilt of Slene's dagger. All right, come back in if you're in. We're still telling the story. The symbol dissipates in a wisp of white blue mist and is gone. Sorry, we're still telling the story. I was talking to these guys, but you can not listen.
Oh, I thought you said come back in.
I did. I was talking to her because she didn't roll for a second roll.
Should I?
No, you can listen.
Okay.
It flickers and is gone. Up high above, you start noticing light above the flue. It's as though the forest above you is on fire. And in the distance around you, from the caves where you've seen water, you hear a burbling and roiling, like maybe the water is boiling. You're not sure what's happening. It's very strange, but roll me a d20. 9 or better.
17.
Or both, everybody. Good? Okay. You're
17.
okay. Standing up, you walk forward, but you're not seeming to find yourself near where you would expect to. You're not moving towards the edge of anything. You can start feeling, however, the heat coming closer to you. It doesn't hurt, but there's, where you are, a low steam, and you're not sure exactly what's happening about that. You glance around in every direction, and you can see that there's steam kind of coming in from every opening. There is a man kind of far away, and he's standing and talking to some creature that you can't quite make out. It looks like some kind of creature that would be in the cave. You draw a bit closer, and the creature, which may be some kind of, sorry, I was trying to think of the word for it. I can't remember, but basically like a rodent-like creature that would live in these caves, seems to be nodding. Capybara. The capybara type creature seems to be nodding at what the man is saying to him. It turns slowly away and walks into the steam. Roll a d20.
15.
Okay. You walk towards the man. You don't recognize him, but he also looks a little familiar. And you get closer and closer to him, and you find, Neno, that he's standing in water, and the water seems steaming and hot, but he doesn't seem affected by it. He just looks at you like he was looking at the capybara-type creature. And despite the intensity of what's going on around him, he just seems to be calm. He can be seen clearly as though he's got a blue-white light emanating from him or around him. You're not quite sure. Roll me a d20.
10.
And he says something to you. He says, I know it's hard, but good done out of season is evil, and harm done at the crucial moment can be a greater good. For everything there is a time and a purpose. Roll a d20.
8.
And he turns to you and says, but then you wake up. All right, everybody can come back in.
For real this time?
For realsies.
That's by far the most of a dream I've ever gotten.
Yeah. So if anybody has. We're ready, guys, if y'all are. Hey, can y'all hear me? No, you can't hear me because I'm on the wrong thing trying to get you in.
At Sir Robert's house, I think.
We're ready for you.
Right. Oh, here we
Okay.
go. Back to where you once belonged.
Back in the solid again.
That's right. Okay.
Can't see you guys. You guys have the camera on.
So, we can't see you. I mean, now I can because the microphone's not in the way.
Let's see. Maybe I push
My
the
head.
video button. That's me.
Now I can see you.
And maybe I push this button.
Hey, it's not there yet, but it's coming.
Just thinking about it.
There it is.
There we go.
Okay.
Issues.
So that was the dream.
Cool.
You wake up feeling refreshed, but you're not exactly sure why, and the edges of the dream quickly blur. It's a little hard to remember. However, you hear a knock on the door, and it is Talid coming to greet you. Don't worry, he took the fruit out of his mouth.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You can eat it. I'll cover. It's Talid. He comes to let you know that it'll be time for the ceremony shortly. But he has to get ready. He and Della, his sister who is with him, are both super excited. They're looking forward to it. And he tells you this is you've already heard him. They've gone on at length about the ceremony, this coming of age ceremony. But basically, the key element of it is it's a private ceremony. The adults know how it goes because they've all done it, right? But it's a thing they look forward to as children to come into Simderon's blessing. Talid needs to get ready, so he's not actually going to be able to hang out with you at this point. And also Della is going to go get ready, and same thing for her, but she wasn't hanging out with you anyway. But he lets you know that somebody will be along, either him or somebody else, to bring you, and it won't be very long. Super excited, and you can see there's a bustle of activity in the background. Everybody seems to be everybody seems to be excited about what's going on, and they're still setting up. My laptop battery is low, so give me 1 second. I'm just going to go grab the charger for it.
I'm going to refill my water bottle.
I'm gonna dance a little jig.
Which you can't see, but it's beautiful.
My question is this: jig, is that spelled in Italian Giuge or whatever?
Guig?
Yeah.
What?
Because there is a dance like spelled that way in Italian. There's like classical music, you know, you play a... I don't know how you pronounce it because I'm not Italian. But I'm wondering if that's a jig.
Might be jig worthy. Or Guig worthy if you're Italian. Dang, Italians.
He told.
Yes.
Had that dream again last night.
Oh.
You know that... Wait, is Toll wearing that symbol?
What symbol is that?
The guy you got that armor from.
That symbol was on Gull's chest.
It was in my dream. Did you have that dream?
The dream with the symbol. I had it not last night, but the night before, and I show him the tattoo from Gull.
Yes.
This is the symbol. Yes.
Yeah.
Minnow flips up her skirt and shows the mirror image of the same thing.
And one of the things you notice as you're looking at the symbol, they're not all identical. The one that Neno made is identical to Gulb's, but there are variations. And she noticed before that she and Gulb had talked about it before, that a symbol that is sort of holy or precious or sacred to her looks like it's related to or is a part of the same symbol that Gulb had, just a little different. His had some water on it, but focused more on something else. Yours had some land and water. Yeah, there's Gulb's. Josh has it.
I had a dream too, but it didn't involve any symbol.
Tell us about yours, Toll.
My dream was not very long. I saw canopies above the canopy and perhaps a canopy above that. It's hard to remember, but
Yeah.
I think not long after that I woke up.
The layers.
And the fireflies. Did your dreams have groundwater?
That sounds familiar. It started to get hazy at the end.
Mine had a lot of groundwater, and it had steam. Not mist like we usually see, but like steam that's hot coming from the water. And from a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking to one of those cave cows.
Yeah.
Inkatink says the word cave cows exactly the same as how Yoshika just said it.
Diamondback has gotten ready to go and is headed out.
You hear a knock on the door at that moment. And don't hear anything.
Diamondback opens the door because he's right there.
The Diamondback, you see the stranger who was a little surprised.
Oh,
by
the gray-haired guy.
The gray-haired guy. He was surprised by what you had to say, and he, I think, is maybe a little bit surprised that you're answering the door, but not significantly. He just sort of was not expecting you specifically. And he kind of looks behind you for a moment and says to you, not quietly, but he's clearly just talking to you. And he says, I was thinking about... Sorry. I was thinking about what you said. I don't usually like idle stories. But something about the way you said it made me think you're not telling me a story. I have something that's probably of interest to you. And he holds a little pouch. And he says, I've got find the path and locate object. Will you show me your thing? Can you show me how it works? Can we go somewhere? I'll give you these.
Yeah, Inkatink can overhear him.
Diamondback's
So,
eyes light up and he gestures to Inkatink.
yeah, Inkatink pops over, and Inkatink can overhear him, so he pops out the cube.
And Yoshika is approaching and trying to insert himself into the situation, and says, "Yes, of course." And I don't think we've met. My name's Yoshika. This is Diamondback, Toll, Inkatink, and Neno.
And we have important business to do. Yes, where shall we? Where
what's
shall
your
we
name?
demonstrate?
I talk over Diamondback. What's your name? And I start positioning myself like gently more in between him and Diamondback.
Diamondback is socially aware enough to step back a little bit and let the face take over.
And the man says, candidly, I don't know you. Your names are not useful to me. I know and I trust Elafine. And for some reason he's got you here. But I don't think that I'm ready to trust you with anything important right now. But we can do some business. And he glances at Diamondback with a sort of half glance at Inkatink because he's not sure how the bird's involved. All he knows is the kid with the mascara.
Well, I can certainly understand that. I know exactly how you feel. Tell you what, why don't we just get to know each other a little bit better, and then we'll probably have better grounds to do business.
Yoshika, shall we introduce... sorry, Dwight's character's name.
Belvari.
Shall we introduce Belvari? He could demonstrate some of his spells that work in the way that, you know, and perhaps lend some credence to our story.
And the guy says, I believe you enough. I don't need to see anything, except if you'll show me how this works, I'll give you I'll pay you with these.
Well, I hope you understand we share the same feelings that you do, coming from a dangerous world up above.
Understandable.
And we don't know anything about you.
I'll tell you what.
As far as the guy knows, there is a cricket on his shoulder.
Who's about to be really big if he squishes it.
He sees it and brushes it off.
He
Not
doesn't
aggressively.
see it, he just can hear it.
Oh, okay. He kind of brushes his shoulder. He looks at Diamondback. He's not wary. Actually, you know what? Roll me, please, an insight check. Everybody who's paying attention, which is, I don't know, maybe all of you.
Tell me also, I don't even know what charisma is. And I have this awareness that I'm playing a character who has a more...
Charisma is your...
a more forceful personality than... I can play.
Charisma
So
is
how should we express
charisma
that?
is only all of your stats are a form of power, a might, right?
Yeah.
And so it's on a scale. That's power. Charisma is the power by which you are able to affect people's will.
But you said, Jared, you said forceful personality. It's literally like the rules are charisma is the force of your personality.
Okay, so then there are things in the real world about socializing that happen on a really subtle level. It's hard for me to articulate, but it's something like you are talking, where you're just chatting, and then you kind of start to like a person or not. You develop rapport.
And what charisma is the ability to do that on purpose and to persuade, intimidate, repel, attract, to be able to play those things off. It doesn't have to be ostentatious. You don't have to be a glad hander. Hey, all right. Politician-y. It doesn't have to be that. It could be, right? But your flavor of it could also be mild, but quickly engendering trust, or even engendering fear, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So people can be very charismatic with a wide variety of expressions of that charisma in real life and here.
Okay. So it's what I've been trying to do. I first tried to be friendly and develop some rapport.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know how to...
You can't force it, right? So if he's got his own agenda going on... Oh, that's...
It's a little more than I want.
If he's got his own things going on, right, you can try to persuade him, and depending on how reticent he is to be persuaded, it might be a really high roll. Like, you might have to roll 25. Or, on the other hand, somebody who's really ready to believe, it might be like, roll 5 or better. That's kind of how that goes. Does that make sense? And so, and similarly for intimidation, whatever. If you want to do something where you want to say, I'd like to persuade him, that way I know what you're trying to do, right? We can roll a persuasion check, or intimidation, or other things like that. Does that make sense?
Okay. We're trying to do some theater here too, so...
Yeah.
Like, the actual talking seems like... I guess I'm feeling some awkwardness between, like, the rolling and the actual dialogue.
The theater we're doing is self-consciously not a play, it's a game. And so the listener is comfortable hearing aspects of the game as long as they're not tedious mechanics.
And Jared, you can always describe what your character is trying to do.
Yeah.
And then Sir Robert will give you an appropriate check.
Okay.
I want to convince him that I am his grandmother. Okay. Fair enough?
Yeah.
And also, by the way, make it as non-gamish as you like. Or as gamish as you like. That's okay. You get to be you in this. That's part of the fun.
Okay.
Oh, Jared, the principle of D&D that I love that this covers this, I think, is that you can do everything that you can do, and then the extra stuff, like the plus amounts, the modifiers that are on your character sheet, are stuff that you can't do but your character can. So you don't have to actually be really insightful to roll an insight check. You can just say, my character's trying to figure out such and such.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the difference between you and the character, is that the character can do things you can't do, and you can do things the character can't do, and,
Yeah, but why do I always roll so poorly?
that's the character's fault. Okay.
Together we'll John Malkovich our way through this.
That's right. So, sound good? Does that give you some framework?
What's my takeaway? Say, I want to try to persuade him sometimes instead of actually doing the dialogue.
Although you can say that and say something in the dialogue, like, for example, as though it's closed captioned, Yoshika, leans in and says persuasively,
Okay.
there are ways
Yeah,
you can do
that's
it,
a good
right?
way.
As though the
You just
people
have, like, a
listening don't know
keyword
what's
or
in your
something.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to give clues and hints.
Okay.
I mean, that mine was a little ham-fisted there, but I wanted just to make it obvious what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
you can do it other ways too. Like I glower at him, intending to make him want to run away. That's
Okay.
an intimidation check. Okay.
I say from now on, anytime we want to make a check, we have to hold up a D20 and coyly hold it next to our face.
Yeah. But you have to roll a d20 to see if you're coy enough. All right.
Cool.
Well, meanwhile, Neno, who has no charisma at all, has negative charisma, has sidled up behind you and pulled your coat and murmured so you can hear and the stranger can't. Don't show him our most precious thing. Maybe talk to Elifim? Trying to prompt you that if we're going to do any kind of business, let's do it in the sight of the person in authority down here, the closest person we trust.
And I'm going to roll to see whether he could hear it.
Okay.
That's one of those things Matt was just talking about, the difference between what you can do versus what your character can do versus what other people can do.
I might not be as quiet as I thought.
Well, I mean, but you can try, right? And then I'll say, as a DM...
I try very hard.
That's right. As a DM, I go, okay, well, how likely is he to hear? I'll make this level of difficulty, and I'll roll on that, and we'll see what happens.
You
Right?
can make it impossible difficulty, but then he'll have to roll to hear.
It could be a stealth
initially.
versus a perception contestant.
It could be. This time, however, I rolled already. So, we were at. That was just a quick digression. You were rolling insight checks.
Oh yeah, I rolled a 7.
I got a 13.
It's going to be a 23 for Diamondback.
Mm-hmm.
18, but I'm not there.
It's wonderful.
Good talk. Can I have his?
You're really.
Just in case.
You think Della looks great.
Mm.
And what was yours?
Natural 20.
And
Oh, good.
Toll.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What?
Insight check.
Well- Oh yeah, I rolled a 12.
Okay. For Diamondback and Yoshika, who rolled very high, he is not inclined to socialize or fraternize with you or anything like that. He's really just trying to do some business with you, and he's not like standoffish or anything. He's just not. He's sort of implacable about it, I guess. That said, he looks at Diamondback and not rudely, but he's addressing Diamondback, and he says,
I interrupt and say, I'm going to feel more comfortable once I know you more. Why don't we have the old blood introduce us to each other? I say as I'm giving cues for him to step out of the doorway and starting to close the door.
he doesn't move for you, but he's not rude about it. He just seems not to be done. And he said, he's just standing where he's standing, right? And he says to Diamondback,
Okay, I'm going to keep doing it like uncomfortably close to him, so that
I think Inkatink is going to awkwardly get between Yoshika and the door and start half sideways shimmying out the door into the hallway.
And he says to Diamondback with Yoshika there, he says, maybe we can all talk later. He was working with Diamondback, so he's kind of addressing him first. But he says we can all. So he's doing it that way. But he says to Diamondback, maybe we can all talk later. If you want to meet and you can show me. And he glances at Inkatink, who clearly Diamondback for some reason had gestured towards earlier. He says, if you can show me how it works, we can figure it out. At that moment, behind him, you hear commotion of people, making ready, and Talad comes over, kind of jogs a little bit, bounds over to you, and says, "Hey, are you guys ready?"
Hey, are you guys ready?
Good. And Della's nowhere to be seen, but she's probably getting ready. She's probably, going to the thing. And you can see a number of people, not a whole lot, but you can see some of the adults and some of the other youth, we'll call them, that are around 18 to 20 years old, around Talad's age. You can see them going towards the place where they were setting up before, a kind of ceremony hall. Some of y'all did not see it, but Talad and Inkatink both saw it last night.
Yoshika says, "Yes, we were just meeting your friend," and then kind of trails off to see if Talad will say the name.
I don't think Talad knows the name.
Talad's just like, my friend, and there's like an awkward pause where each of us are trying to waiting for the other to finish the sentence.
We were just getting our things. We'll be out in just a minute.
And the man leaves, but as he leaves, says, "We'll figure it out afterwards."
Sounds good.
And, sorry, let me say that. Sorry, he leaves. Got to try to hit his voice. He leaves and says, "We'll figure it out afterwards."
And for as long as he's within 30 feet, there seems to be a cricket on his shoulder.
He doesn't seem to notice this time. He leaves and, he walks away towards where people are going, and is met with his compatriot who was doing something else somewhere else. They go together, and you see other people going in. What do you want to do? Talad is there with you, but he's not exactly hurrying you. He's just...
Get my stuff and go follow Talad.
As we go along, I say to Belvari, "Do you have a spell that creates insects? That's very interesting."
No, it doesn't create insects. It just makes the sound of an insect.
I'm disappointed by that. Look, there's the ceremony chamber.
So, so you go into the ceremony table. You go into this chamber. Now, as I mentioned, Inkatink would have heard this before, not Inkatink. Josh heard this before, but the chamber doesn't. Unlike all the other chambers, this one seems to have been carved. It was made for a purpose. It's not huge. You're not sure exactly what it would have been carved for, but it could have been a place where they got stone, quarrying some stone or something. You're not sure. But it's decorated. It's really nicely decorated. It's pleasant. I guess the word is it's pleasantly decorated. It's not like fancy. But they've brought in wood. They've decorated with boughs of, different kinds of greenery. They've, there are little bits of sculpture. There's things around. The room is somewhat longer than it is wide. It's probably about 2 to 1. And there are people streaming in. You come in the midst of the people. There doesn't seem to be any particular propriety that you can tell about it. But you come in and find yourself kind of flowing into the room. There are the floor of this chamber. Let me think of a name that I'm just going to refer to it as. The floor of the hall. Thank you. The floor of the hall is stone, and it has alternating flat levels that appear to act as something like benches. They are not made from separate stone. The floor was carved this way. So there's long rows, 2 rows with a quarter in the middle, quarter like a gap in the middle, gaps on each side. You can comfortably move around. The benches are not very tall. They're somewhat tall for Nena, but they're comfortable-ish to sit on for people of your general stature. You see the youth coming in spurts. There are Della is already there. She's sitting in one spot with some friends. Talad has come in already. He came in with you and finds a spot with some friends. Talad gestures that you're welcome to go, and there are little, almost alcoves carved into the sides of the walls. They are comfortable places to stand, and there's little lights in there, like kind of high up, 6-7 feet up. There's just little lights similar to the ones that illuminate everything else, but they'd be comfortable for you to stand. And there are a few of the adults standing around there, kind of observing. Elephine is not yet present. The gray-haired man is standing kind of near the door. He's a couple of alcoves from the door. The rest of you find further away from the door because you're coming in a little later. And you see people coming in. This whole process takes 10-15 minutes. It's, people having a good time, chatting. Tell me, if you will, for your characters, are you individually, would you stand together? Would you go talk to people? Would you kind of be somewhere else in the room? What would you do?
Yoshika just kind of stands quietly beside Toll.
Okay.
Kind of watching things.
I think Inkatink would follow and stay pretty close to the elbow of Diamondback.
And what would
This
Diamondback
would probably
do?
be the most sort of people of this community that we've seen all together. Diamondback is looking for weapons. He's looking for martial capacity. Is this an organization with like military might? What's their ability to do violence?
Roll me an investigation check. And Belvari, what would you do? Where would you be in this room, and what would you be doing?
Belvari is up against the wall.
Like in one of the little alcoves, just
Yeah.
taking it in?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be
16.
with 16? Would you be with Yoshika, or would you be with Diamondback, or would you be off by yourself?
I would be by myself.
There's not exactly a by yourself, right?
Yeah,
There's
I
people.
mean,
Okay.
I would be at the most lonely spot. In the
Okay. Sounds good. And no,
Neno is looking around the room trying to find children. Are there any children in the room at all?
no. The youngest you see is
Seeing
the
no
people
one
who are
younger than
participating.
18.
Yeah.
She is extremely uncomfortable, and it is actually like, for her, pretty much cowering behind Toll's leg.
Okay. So you're with Yoshika and Toll, but hiding, as it were. Okay. You had a 16 investigation check.
Yep.
Okay. All of the youth are the initiates or whatever are just wearing these robes. They're not special in any way, but they seem to be. Excuse me. They seem to be loose and flowing. They're not carrying things. They don't have belts on. Some of them have belts or sashes or something, and they may have, their normal personal effects, but they're not hiding anything. The adults don't seem to be having anything either. They just are, some of them have drinks in their hands. A couple of them are maybe eating something. But that's about it. Doesn't seem to be anything crazy going on.
I don't see any spear-wielding calluses.
No. There are no guards. There's no...
Music?
Cool.
Not yet. If there might be some, but there's not yet. So a few minutes pass, and Elephine comes in. He seems to be approximately the last person, which makes good sense. He's the elder there. Everybody seems to be waiting, and when he comes in, it takes a few 30 seconds or whatever. People quiet down and are ready for him. He talks to a few people, normal sorts of things, and he makes his way down one of the sides, not any kind of ceremonial procession. He's just walking to the front. But he makes his way down one of the sides, and at the front of the room, or the back of the room from the door, so the opposite end from the door, I'll call that the front, and I'm going to call the door at the back, just because that's where the focus is. At the front of the room, there is a raised stone platform. It's approximately the same height as the benches, and it's been carved out of it. It's a circular-ish platform with a much larger alcove behind it, almost making a circular stage. And you actually get the impression this could be used sometime as a theater or as some kind of, people could sing in here and there's stone walls, or something like that. Once he goes up there, you notice, oh, this is like a place where you can go and see things, a theater or something. And he's standing there, and a couple of young men bring one of the barrels, now full. They kind of roll it in, and they get it to somewhere on the stage. It is not carefully placed in like some special spot. It's just sort of brought in and put near Elephine in the middle-ish of the thing. And Elephine tells everybody, I am so glad to see you all here today. And before we continue, we're going to take our 10-minute break, and then we'll continue with his speech. So we'll be back at about 9 o'clock.
Huzzah!
I'm going to mute... Blinking?
It's solid.
Sir Robert. I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear him now?
How about now?
Yeah.
Hey.
Are we at 1 in 2024?
I think so.
Okay.
16.
Okay. Man.
What it is, Matt?
Nothing much. The Golden Bough is this pretty early work of anthropology. So this guy knows like all sorts of different customs from ancient people and medieval people and undeveloped tribes all over the world. And has some really interesting ideas. And especially about things like curses and how magic works and what it is.
Is it fiction or nonfiction?
It's nonfiction. No, it's like an important,
Okay.
It's not a textbook anymore. I don't think actual anthropologists. I think anthropology has moved on from, but he was an important voice in the development of early anthropology.
I found myself
George Fraser.
I found myself a little while ago. So I have this ongoing personal quest, as it were, to.
Just the one?
Yeah. To force everyone else to be first order, first class beings in my world. And so I frequently find that there are a lot of people who, classes of people or kinds of people or behaviors of people or something who I have relegated to be non-selfs. Not intentionally. I just noticed that, I use a sort of dismissive adjective or noun or something. And so whenever I find myself scoffing at a kind of sincerely held belief or something like that, I use that as an opportunity to try to find an honest frame within me through which I could hold the same belief. Honest meaning not contriving it as something someone could believe.
Yeah.
But that.
George Fraser gives a good, a pretty good account of how ancient people would have thought magic worked, which is actually I sat in for one class on an Egyptologist at Brown. He gave the same account, but he's probably in the same school of thought as George Fraser. But essentially that you see all these forces around you and they work in certain ways, so you give them names because they're pretty reliable. Like the corn comes up in the spring and the plants all die in the winter, and we need a name for that. It's like a force. It does stuff all around you, so we got to give a name to that. So, Ceres.
And rumor walks blazing among them.
Up. Yeah. So, but he gives an account of that goes pretty deep, and like for instance, he's like, and that's why there's this one tribe in South America where everybody is named after plants and animals, and when somebody dies, you're not allowed to say that word anymore. So the old ladies get together and they come up with a new word for that plant or animal. So the missionaries who originally contacted these people, the first dictionary they compiled of their language was completely out of date by the second generation. And other missionaries who came were like, they told me that you people spoke this way. And they were like, don't say those words. Those are taboo. The ghosts will come and kill us if you say those words.
Wow, how hard it would be to translate any important book.
Oh, yeah. Well, no.
There's no such thing.
These are groups of people who've completely forgotten any history of their tribe going back further than a generation, because you're not allowed to say the name of the dead. So you can't say like Chief so-and-so 2 generations ago fought against this other tribe and won and it was glorious. Like you can't even say that. Anyway, real interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
You would like it, Sir Robert. It's a 12-volume book, but he came out with an abridgment version That's like only extremely long instead of ridiculously long.
Next year.
Do you know, Matt? Are you acquainted with Peter Pringle?
Not really.
No. Inventor
might-
of the famous baked potato chip
Probably. But
product.
his lesser-known work is that, at least as I know him, is that he reproduces ancient music with ancient instruments, usually in the original tongue, as best he's able. And it's really cool. So I just listened to part of his Epic of Gilgamesh in Sumerian on one of their instruments. It's pretty cool.
I listened to that recently.
Yeah.
I blame all that on Dwight.
Sorry.
Yeah, Dwight. Gosh. All right, well, let's get into it. You guys ready?
It was a good link, that Circle Wayne.
Yeah.
How can
The
we
marriage
know?
of Circle Wayne.
All right, let's do it.
Jacob's tearing off the Band-Aid and removing all vittles from all loud, crinkly sleeves.
Thank you, Jacob.
Because he's a
Also,
man
there's
of
a printer
foresight.
Printing, so it's the
Man
opportune
of
time.
Well, since it's
Foresight and follow
Give
through.
Sir Robert things to read night, you should also read the Technological Society, which is by this French guy.
I'm going to write these down. 1 sec.
And
On my
it's-
Christmas list.
He basically calls a technique anything that you do that causes an outcome. So, like, magic spells would be a technique.
Okay.
Science would be a technique.
Yeah. A very Grecian
Yeah.
form of that, to my understanding of it.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it called?
The Technological Society.
Right. Let me visualize world peas here.
Toll, do you know you're on mute? Just want to make sure you know that it's deliberate, not accidental.
Hey, Jacob.
He has a
Can you go
dog.
get me a
that might
book
be
or something that I can set this on so it's getting pretty hot. And this felt noise.
Uh-oh. Sir Robert, camera number 2 has frozen and I don't hear anything from you.
I'll fix that in a sec. Oh, you can't hear me because
I also do not hear Sir Robert at all.
I persist in my inability to hear Sir Robert or see a fresh frame from his camera.
Or dice might
I
get better
think.
than the
Here.
maybe.
Should we open this yet? It's been closed for a
You may.
while. Okay. Just making
Yeah.
sure.
Why don't we do that? We give me a couple of six-sided.
See, my beef with Fraser's theory is that it fails to account for the existence of actual gods, lowercase g. Right?
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't think they're real. Or demons or things.
So you
The
probably don't
fool.
eat the outside. You want to cut into it. You can't eat
See,
the
I was
outside.
confused.
That's
It
why I
looked
love
like
till
cheese
we
covered
have
in paper, but it
faces.
was too cheesy.
Because you
Yeah,
see
you can eat the outside, but it
the
is
wild
paper.
juxtaposition
Okay.
Yeah, if you
of
just cut it,
the
there's soft cheese inside.
knowingly
I have no
of
idea.
the secretly
Can y'all hear
atheist
me now?
priests
So usually cut
and what it's
into
like
waves,
to actually
and then
come into the presence of God. Like C.S. Lewis has a better description of what it's like to be in the presence of God than pretty much any other author, save the biblical, accounts of the prophets being in the presence of God.
Might need to read.
It was like that when it happened to me when I was 18, and when I read Till We Have Faces, I went, "Oh crud, this guy's actually.
Bake it into
I think he's actually. This has actually happened to him too." So I've never heard anybody describe it like that, and that's what it was like.
Who's this guy?
C.S. Lewis's Till We Have Faces.
Okay.
I need to read that book.
You read it before, right?
No.
retelling.
Oh,
It's like-
oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. It's a great myth. That's my secret heresy that I kind of 5% believe in Aslan.
Brought the air horn for episode 2.
Keep in line.
The most
My computer's
excusable
really
of
hot, so I was
heresies.
just gonna.
Dang.
Man,
Oh, it's really cold.
this is
Technical difficulties.
Can y'all hear us?
Is the light on in there?
Josh, can you hear us?
I love
Hey,
playing
can y'all hear
D&D
us?
with Jared. I love seeing Jared play these characters
Can't
with
see us, so.
more than spine, with like real will, and they assert themselves and stuff, and it's delicious. I love seeing Jared experiencing the freedom of the narrative device.
Don't stop.
Makes for good
Stop
storytelling,
stopping, I said.
attention, good moments
You
of,
can hear your reaction to it.
of jockeying and vying, and I love the.
Polyps.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, can you hear
We
us?
can hear you.
Hey, I just
back.
heard Dwight say polyps, and Sir Robert said, "Can you hear us?"
I didn't say polyps. It's absurd.
I'm pretty sure you're talking about bowel polyps.
I spent most of my life trying to get rid of bowel polyps.
Short sleeve hoodie.
Surprised. Wait, that's a short sleeve.
Okay. Sorry about that. My
Gym guys, they're like,
computer was getting very overheated, so I
but I just like
used some upside down compressed air.
You wet it down some.
I did.
It
Gave
does
it a
have
quick
a little
bath.
bit of Rocky Balboa feel. He would go
Okay,
jogging for some reason.
eat some eggs raw.
Hey, I want to check something real
We want
quickly.
to keep the
Is
sweater.
it blinking?
His arms.
Can you hear me, Matt?
Yes.
Good.
But
I
it's
just want to make
not-
sure we're using. Sorry, say it again.
Oh. It seemed like it was low quality, but it doesn't seem that way anymore.
Okay, great. We're using the better mic, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. I will make sure that all difficulties are fairly non-technical in the future.
Those are the worst kind.
Let's get back into it.
You feel like water.
You feel like you
million
imagine
tiny
water would feel if you were
seahorses.
water.
Floating around.
Okay. Let's. Everybody ready? This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a world we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective as well as the stories we are telling at thestarfallcollective.com. We're back with a new episode. Let's find out who's in this episode. I am Sir Robert, a father and entrepreneur, and I am the host of this season's story. With me are some friends who are playing the characters in this drama. Please say your name. We'll go really quickly for this. Something about yourself if you like, your character if you like, and then we will hop back into the action. Jared?
I'm playing Yoshika.
I'm playing
Talon.
Talon.
Jacob is playing Talon. Aaron Joy?
Not Splint. He's
Playing Minnow.
All right.
Hey, I'm playing Belvari.
Matt?
Diamondback.
Josh?
Hola, estoy la generalísimo.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing Inkatink, the Kinku.
And Patrick.
I am playing Toll the Half-Orc.
All right. Let's get back into the flow.
What's
Whereas,
the other half?
are you half human, half orc?
Yes.
Okay. And as Josh might say, Oye, como va mi ritmo? All right. So,
Only on Tuesdays.
we left off with Elephine was getting in front of the audience, the people gathered. There are about a dozen or so adults watching in the room, and there are about 14, 15, 16 young of the town's youths who are here. They're excited. There's a palpable energy among them. They don't know what's going to happen. They haven't seen this before, and they're excited for it. They're clearly wearing something sort of ceremonial. It's not like a highly ceremonial garb, but it's a robe of a kind that you haven't seen the other ones wearing. maybe it's over their clothing or something. It's, something to help them look uniform. They're clearly the ones being focused on here. Elephine tells you all, I'm so glad for all of you to be here. We do these sometimes every year or so, and each year is such a special time for me. So many of you are my nieces and nephews, or the nieces and nephews of my nieces and nephews. And it is an honor every year to represent Cinderella for our family, to receive his blessing. Cinderella is the one who lets us do what we do. This is his forest. These are his caves. He's responsible for our safety. And it's his blessing that he's given to our family for many, many generations. Since Orvin himself, we've received his blessing to help us stay secure in this place, in this world. We are, this year is such an especially important day, especially important time, because we've been working for so long with the Wayfarers, and he gestures over to Yoshika, with the Menowans, the Wayfarers, who bring us reports of the towns, and he tells us, this town is unruly or brawling or whatever, and the Menowan will tell us, and we don't really need to interact with that sort of people. But they also tell us we found this town that is looking to do things a different way, looking to be I don't even know exactly how to say it, but they're just going after their own ways and their own purposes. In those towns, we are honored to participate with Cinderella. We send them these beautiful barrels, and he gestures to the barrel. And obviously, it's not like a beautiful barrel. It's a barrel. But you can tell he has a genuine emotion about the whole thing. And he says, it has been just the work of my life, as you know, to get these out into the world. And we finally finished. All the towns, all the little villages, all the hamlets that, well, I could go on and on. Let's go ahead and get to the main part here. You young children, which is how he refers to they're not children, but for him. You young children, you've heard from your parents that at a certain age, our line receives a blessing of Cinderella. And I know you don't know what that means, but I'll tell you what it means. Orvin, long ago, found that if he worked with with all his strength, Cinderella blessed him to tend to the animals that are above, to,
Husband?
Yeah, it's not quite that. Sorry, give me 1 sec. I'll cut this in post, I promise. To tend to to raise the animals that are above, to watch over the peoples around, and to help steer them towards his purposes. He is delighted that we are nearly done. In this ceremony, Cinderella visits us, not him himself, but he sends a representation of himself And I want to say, our special guest here, who's done more than anyone else, though his work is just beginning, has brought a gift for each of you. And you see coming in from the side, just from not anywhere in particular, just like somebody who's prepared a box. And he goes to each, to Talid, to Della, not just them, but I don't have names for the other ones. And he goes to each and he gives them a little cup. And he says, we're going to all drink together. This from the fluid. We're going to all drink together. And he has brought each of you one of these beautiful, beautiful cups. And he passes them out. And they all walk up and scoop it. And they scoop in the black liquid. It's not this black liquid that's smoking. And they bring it back. And one of the really interesting things about this is the smoke flows to the ground and is sort of gently still connected to the barrel. And he says, all of you, the first thing is we pour a libation to Simdaran to let him know that we recognize that everything that he's provided is his. And so everybody pours a libation. Do you? Talib?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
He pours a libation. And they pour out about half of their cup. And it pools on the ground. And from their cup, a tendril of this magical wispy smoke stays to the ground, and it slowly winds its way back to the barrel. And it's as though each of them is almost connected to the barrel. And as they wind up out of the barrel, you see a figure start to appear. The mist swirls, and it's not big. It's like 2 feet tall out of the barrel. And it takes the form of a humanoid who's tall and slender, and he's not very well defined because he's made of mist and he's all one color, right? It's not like an illusion like you've seen Belvari make. It's that the mist is making this figure. And he's dressed in a kind of similar to what the young people are wearing, and he's got implements of like not a farmer but like a rancher, like a
lasso.
Sorry?
A lasso.
I was thinking like a riding crop, like a rope maybe on his belt, a riding crop, kind of a something that you would wear if you're husbanding animals.
6-shooter.
What's that?
Never mind. I said a 6-shooter.
Yeah, not in this case.
A salad spinner.
That's right. A semi-automatic wand.
Now, rotating barrel.
And this figure, and Elephine, this figure seems to be making these sort of gestures, but you can tell it's not like actually a guy there. They're sort of like repeating these little motions that look sort of naturalistic, but not a present thing. It's like almost like a simulation. You know what I mean? Not to be overly technical about it. But Elephine says, Simdaran has brought all of us here this day. It's time for you to receive his blessing. Just drink the cup. His power, his energy, his blessing will flow through you. And not all the youth do it at once. They're kind of like figuring it out, and they don't know what it's going to taste like, but they drink, and you can see that same tendril go into them, and it almost like stays connected through their face. It's not like coming out of their mouth. It's not quite that. But it's almost like they've got a halo kind of that connects back to that barrel. 3 people don't. They look uncomfortable, uneasy, uncertain. Talid and Della, and another one that you don't particularly recognize. And Elephine looks around and says, oh, kids, it's okay. And you can see Della is trying not to cry. She's like nervous about it. And Talid walks over and, not Talid, I'm sorry. Elephine walks over and says, Della, it's okay. Every year, somebody's not quite ready. If you want to receive his blessing now, you can. It's not a problem. And he looks over at Talid, and Talid Roth, your dad, has walked over to you and has, got his arm around your shoulder. telling you something similar. Della is closer to you guys. And Elephine says, it's okay. You need to make a decision, right? Either this is the time for you to receive the blessing or it's not. There's always another way. And she's kind of nervous about it. She seems not to know what to expect and feel a little uneasy. And she says, I'm going to try to do her voice. I'm really bad at girls' voices. She says, Uncle Elephine, I just don't know. This is all, like, it's different than I imagined. And Elephine says, oh, you always were such a silly girl. It's okay. You don't have to. You're not, this isn't the year for you. Sorry. Matt, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. We've been able to hear you this whole time. Only your camera cut out.
Your picture went away, and I'm just trying to see why.
When she says, this isn't what I imagined, Toll kind of notices Yoshika sit up a little straighter.
Okay. And he says, oh, Della, you're such a sweet girl. You've always been a sweet but silly girl. That's okay. There's always more than one way. If you're not ready to receive Cinderella's blessing, and he's got his arm around her, and he pulls up a dagger and slits her throat, and the blood pours out. Roth.
Roll initiative.
Almost.
I just rolled a 20 for my initiative.
Roth glances over and with almost a sort of sympathetic chuckle. Oh, Della. And he's, you silly girl. And he starts to turn back to Talad and has a dagger in his hand. At that moment, Talad takes advantage of the moment of his father looking away and bolts for the door. He is out. Like, fast. Elephine looks over and kind of groans, ugh. Talad's running, and he turns to the gray-haired man. Will you go get him, Spolash? Roll initiative.
23. I kill Spolash.
17.
That was quite the twist.
That guy is Spolash.
Oh.
I can't even find my initiative on my page. I'm so flustered.
My word.
So Spolash is the Iron Bell commander,
yes,
right?
Big bad.
Yeah, he's an Iron Bell higher up.
Yes?
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh
2.
my.
I just rolled a 2. I have
word.
on initiative.
You're just discombobulated.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well.
Sir Robert, that was a truly profoundly diabolical violation of sanctity and trust. And Homer himself is doing somersaults in his grave over the violation of the sanctity of the host bond.
Inkatank. I've got
17.
How many people are in this room?
Hold on 1 second, I'll tell you. I need Toll and Belvari.
Well, Neno is no longer feeling any compunction about disliking this fake god.
Diamondback, Inkatank, Neno, Talad, Toll, Belvari, and Yoshika. Okay, sorry about that. Tell me your initiatives.
17.
17.
23.
11 for Toll.
Talad's 15, Toll's 11, 23 for Diamondback.
Yes, I rolled a natural 20 on my initiative when I heard the name Spolash. Very in character.
And Neno rolled a 3.
4 with my,
4?
Yeah.
And Yoshika,
20.
20. All right.
Inkatink was 17.
I want to describe this room, the situation to you, with great clarity, so that you'll understand what's going to happen. No, what you'll understand the implications of what you're doing. First, Spolash bolts out of the room after Talon. He looks back, and as he's leaving, says to Elephine, "You can have them all for your sacrifice, but keep the bird and snake for me."
Nuts. How did he get out of the room before I started chasing him? Guess there are people all around me.
So, here's what happens. Everybody is quite surprised by something. Everybody in the room is. We're using, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically surprise initiative. You're each going to get a turn first. Right? Your turns will come first. Here's where you are in the room. Spolash was very near the door, not like right next to it, but near, in one of the alcoves. You guys, Belvari, you are. I'll show you this. I'll narrate too, but the room has an exit at the back end of it. Belvari is on the same side as the exit, but near the stage. Neno, Yoshika, and Toll are also near the stage, but on the opposite side. Diamondback is about two alcoves away. Diamondback and Inkatink are both about two alcoves away, in opposite the doorway that the hallway that goes out. You're each about 20-ish, depending on how far, within about 20, 25 feet from the doorway. Going through the doorway and down the hallway is another 10-ish feet, and then you're about 40 feet from the exit of the place. If you desire, you will be able to use your movement to get about to the door. You could dash to get even further if you want to get out. You could also do things like stay and fight. You could do other things that you can think of. Right now, in the room, there are 12 adults on the sides of the room and 14 initiates left, right? As well as Elephine, who's standing there near Della. That's a total of 26. All 26 of them, they've heard what you heard and are intent on grappling you to take you for a sacrifice. So think soberly about what you want to do here. I'm okay with whatever you decide. The way grappling works is one of them can try to just grab you, right? That's the goal, and pin you down, and then maybe another will help or another will help, and then they'll take you somewhere and try to do their stuff with you. But you will get a chance to flee first. They all were not expecting Talid to bolt, Della to die, Spolash to give what he said, or Elephine to ascend. They're all like, what? A little bit of chaos. You have a few moments to take advantage of that chaos. All right. Diamondback, you're first. Well, sorry, do y'all want a minute to figure it out, or are you okay?
Metagaming is for the weak.
I don't mean with each other, I mean with yourselves. Sorry, go ahead.
The door is on the other side of the room from me.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. I was just recently very close to Spolash. What is he wearing?
That cloak that you saw him wear?
Okay.
The DI
You don't have
is
to answer this
Diamondback
if it
and
would take
Ink.
me a long time to think about it. I don't want to take a long time thinking about this. Do I think that his clothes were bulky enough? Because I know that the Iron Bell wears armor.
Yeah.
Do I think he was wearing armor?
Roll me a perception check, DC.
I don't want this to expend my turn.
It won't. That's why I'm going to make
Okay.
it a high DC.
Okay.
To feel fairly definitive about it, a DC 17 perception check. Lower than that, and you're just going to go, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It'll be, the order is Diamondback, Yoshika, and then Inkatink and Belvari are tied.
While Diamondback... So I'm 20 feet from the door.
About.
Are there people in between me and the door?
There are for everybody, but they're flummoxed, and you can dash past them. You can, get past them fast if you do it now. Otherwise, you may have to fight your way past them, through them. There is only the one entrance or exit now of the room.
I go to the door, and then I have 10 feet of movement left.
Okay.
And I say...
That 10 feet of movement, just to tell you, that 10 feet of movement will get you to the other side of this corridor that goes in, that connects this to the main chamber. I'm just telling you.
The corridor that... I'm sorry. There's a big main chamber after this?
The main chamber of the compound.
Okay, yeah. So that's great. So what I'm going to do is take my first 20 feet of movement to go to the door, and then I'm going to say... or maybe I say this first. I say, I'm going after Spolash.
That's
I head to the door.
That's short enough that it can be a free your free action.
Subject to my intent.
Okay.
So I go to the door, and then I go through the door and along the corridor towards the main room.
Yes.
And I want to go just as far as I can or until I can see Spolash.
As you emerge from there, you see Talad turning out the main exit. He's running away.
Do I see Spolash?
Spolash is pursuing him.
How far away is Spolash from me?
Let's see. Talad would be maybe 20, maybe 30 feet. 25, 30 feet.
All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and take a gamble.
Okay.
This is a gamble in several different ways. Real quick, take 1 foot of the broad-tailed lizard and a feather of the orange-footed swallow.
Okay.
And crush them together to cast the spell Heat Metal on Spolash, on his armor, which I suppose will not work if he is not wearing armor. But it does say, such as a metal weapon or a suit of heavy or medium metal armor that you can see within range.
You can't see it. He's wearing the cloak.
Does he have anything metal?
Not
that I can see.
Not that you can distinctly pick out from the distance you are.
Okay.
The cloak's covering him.
Can I give him a different spell instead?
Yeah.
All right. He's sorry. Let me undo the components that I expended there. He's gonna. It's gonna be a. It's gonna be a magic missile instead.
Okay.
So we're gonna consume a. Blood of the silky-backed cardinal,
Mm-hmm.
and a paw of the black-footed deer for a magic missile, which is going to create 3 glowing darts of magical force, which are going to hit him. He doesn't get to save against it. Kind of hoping to tear through his clothes and get a look at that armor if he's got it. But that's. It's going to be a. The first bolt is going to do 4. Okay. Second bolt's going to do 4. Third bolt's going to do 3.
All right.
11 points of damage on old Smolash right in the back as he runs.
You grind those components quickly and adeptly, and this black mist it's like you're pulling it out of this moss that's around you and underfoot, and the 3 darts form and very quickly dart straight towards him, striking him in the back and doing damage. He does not seem significantly hurt by that, like not majorly hurt, but you do break his concentration off of Talid. He looks over towards you, scowling, and rounds the corner, and he goes out of sight where you can see where he went to follow Talid.
Okay.
Yoshika, your turn.
Take Nano! And I both.
So Robert, did you hear my initiative roll? I think I might have been muted when I said it.
Did you say 11?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, great. Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Okay, just making sure.
Yoshika quickly says, "Take Nano," to Toll, and bolts through the door.
Oh, I thought you were saying that to the people, like, take her, spare me! That would have been hilarious.
Very non-Jonathan character.
So, Yoshika, I have a map here that I'm drawing just so I can keep track of where we are. You bolt towards the door. Getting into the door, you're a little further away than Diamondback was, takes your 30 feet of movement. You can do some other action, or you could use your dash action and go another 30-ish feet.
I'm going to dash.
Okay. That'll get you... these are happening roughly at the same time. We're hearing them all at once, but it's happening that way. You burst out. You're a little bit behind Diamondback, but not much. You see his darts hit Spolash, and Spolash scowl and turns the corner. You know that he's chasing Talid, so probably you didn't actually see Talid. Diamondback did. It is now Belvari and Inkatink. Who has the higher dex?
Oh, I just got off my page.
I have a dexterity of 16.
I don't have
I
that
can-
high, I don't think.
Okay, why don't we go Inkatink?
So Inkatink moves to the door
11.
and maybe just 5 feet past the door,
Okay.
and turns and looks and holds an action. When the last of his party leaves the room, he is going to take the components in his hand and combine them, and a spell will go off. And that spell will be Spike Growth.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Now, just to make sure everybody knows, I'm not saying this for metagaming. I want our audience to know the detail here. Is that the trigger is when the last of the party leaves, he will do that. He will have the option to do that. Things could change, and he could change his mind. That's the rule. If not all of the party makes it out, he does not have the option to do that anymore, right? Because the trigger is the last of the party leaves. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's just to let you all know how the game works here. Belvari, your turn.
How far am I from the door?
You are also about 20 feet. You're on the same side, so you would be running along the
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me. As he stands at the door in a desperate last-ditch effort to at least slow Spolash down and perhaps provoke him, he shouts out,
Spolash will hear of this!
In the voice of a very angry, very desperate orc.
Sounds good. Oh, yeah.
Belvari turns into a lion.
Okay.
And his speed is now 50 feet.
Hmm.
And he faces... What's his head?
Spolash. Okay.
There's our lion.
So the action that you took was turning into the lion.
No, it's a bonus action.
Bonus
action, turning into a lion. And then you go 50 feet, which will get you to the corner that he's turning.
Gotcha. And how far am I from him?
You'll be about... Oops. You know what? I'm going to roll to see how far, so that I'm fair about what's happening here.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Justice.
Oops. You are 16 feet from him as you round the corner.
So if I dash, I can only move 50 feet.
Right.
I mean, I could move less, but...
But you... Would that be the last thing you do?
Yeah,
You'd just be near him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll dash and get...
But if you go near him, then you can get an opportunity attack when if he moves beyond you, continuing on towards the kid.
Gotcha.
That's clever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll set up...
He could also slay you.
I have a hard time doing that.
No, he seemed friendly when we talked.
I'll
It's good.
I'll get within 2 feet of...
From behind. You're behind him 2 feet, yeah. You don't want to pass him because then he gets an opportunity to attack.
Right.
Okay.
Or actually, no, I will pass him, but not leave the...
Okay, you'll get like 2 feet in front of him. Or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay. I think that does not trigger, but it also puts you in his way.
Yeah.
Does not trigger an opportunity attack.
Yeah, he'll have to use an action, not a reaction.
Yeah. Okay, that is Belvari. Now we need... See, I've got Diamondback, Yoshika. Diamondback first, then Yoshika. We had Inkatink, Belvari. It is now... Talad already did his bit for this round. It is now Toll's turn. Toll, you are standing there with Neno, who is cowering behind you already, prior to this.
Yes, the last time Toll fought, it was like a very adrenaline-heavy situation with the long night and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of shaken now. Like he just saw this, what he thought was a kindly old man slit this girl's throat. So he's, he heard what Yoshika, or was it what Diamondback said? I don't remember. But Yoshika said, and he's gonna grab Neno and just like throw her into a fireman's carry and like sprint for the door.
I think with
Josh, you beat me to it. I was gonna hold an action to make a similar thing to what you're doing. But,
okay.
Nice.
Get her out.
Yeah, I think Toll will see that Inkatink is waiting to do something, and he will just use his dash to go where he saw everyone else go after.
Yeah, Inkatink waves him on. Inkatink waves him on.
Okay.
And that's the last person, right?
And so in that moment, you see that from the center of the room, the entire, you said it's about 20 by 40, with a 20-foot radius, it fills the whole room. So every 5 feet that anybody in the room moves, they take 2d4 damage.
Wait, describe the spell though. Thorns and...
Describe what happens.
The ground in a 20-foot radius centered on a point within range twists and sprouts hard spikes and thorns. The area becomes difficult terrain for the duration, meaning that their move speed will be halved. When a creature moves into or within the area, it takes 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet that it travels.
Wow. That is so useful right now.
It's really useful right now. All right.
And the entire room is filled.
Like if it was a much bigger room than that.
Yeah.
I guess the side nearer the door. Wherever.
No, it's big enough to fill because it's a 20-foot radius. So it's going to make the circle will fill the long side of the rectangle.
So and it'll get around towards the door. Because if you're going that way. So
that's why I said I wanted to get just a few feet past the door.
Yeah. Those people, you hear howls of grief, basically pain, as sharp thorns and all kinds of crazy, terrible brush and wilderness sprouts up around them. Foreign to them as an experience, these denizens of the deep here. There are people unsure of what's happening, milling about. Their celebration is chaotic. What they've seen is Talad, whom they know, run out. This stranger whom they know and trust, run after Talad for some reason. One of you strangers attacked Spolash with a magic missile.
I just heard that.
Yeah, if they were looking or not. Yeah. A lion ran out the main exit. All of these are egressing from this compound. And then the sound of wild growth happening, echoing through the stony chamber as people are shouting and saying things. You guys are shouting. Diamondback, you're in that main chamber now. You come out into it.
Wait, do I get a move?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the motion that Toll did. Yes, no, please. I apologize.
Okay, I've got enough stuff for 7 expeditious retreats. It might not occur to me until I'm flung over a shoulder, but that whole time I am prepping, and since I am actually in contact with one of them, I crunched 2 for Toll and myself. And now I'm looking for opportunities to get expeditious retreat stuff into the hands of any of my friends.
Let me look that up. I just don't off the top of my head know how that is cast. I don't know the...
So I'm not a sorcerer, warlock, or wizard, so it's
And
not
you
cost
only-
effective for me, but the spell allows me to move at an incredible pace. When you cast the spell, and then when you cast the spell, then as a bonus action on each of your turns until the spell ends, you can take the dash action.
Okay.
So I'm just making our fleeing fast.
Yep, and it lasts for 10 minutes, so y'all can really book it. Okay.
You can probably only do one. It'll take you an action to cast.
Yes, you can do one, but... Sorry, it takes a bonus action to cast.
Which
I am also
And
willing...
she's not moving. I'm carrying her.
That's right. I'll let you do up to 3 of those as your bonus action, and the thing that's occupying you for movement. You can give one to Toll, like a packet of them, and you will be close enough to Inkatink, because you'll pass him, that you could give one to Inkatink.
Tag him.
Perfect.
On your next round, if Toll continues to carry you, and Toll will be able to move fast because of this,
I should pass.
you'll probably pass everybody except Talad, and then you'll be able to do that. So you'll be able to do Yoshika, Diamondback, and Belvari's a lion.
Yeah, if you want to give it to him, you'll have to
All right.
somehow cast it on him.
It is Spolash's turn. The others are, though they would have chased you, Inkatink has
Close. Yay, Inkatink!
kept them at bay for now. You do see some of them who were near the door getting towards the exit, like they're fighting their way through these horrible cutting thorns. It is Spolash's turn. Spolash sees the lion and is no spring chicken. He...
Which is too bad, because spring chickens are some of the most vicious creatures in the animal kingdom.
That's right. He whips aside his cloak and lifts his false hand, which you, Belvari, can see is actually an iron hand. It has replaced his actual hand, his real hand, and he lifts it up, and it swirls with a black mist and begins to articulate as though it itself is a hand. It has all around it, it's clearly well-crafted iron. It is not articulated. It's moving by magical means, and it has bands of stone around it like bracers, if an iron hand even needed one. But it is significant to behold.
Oh, I'm gonna need that hand.
Spolash raises it, clenches his fist, and with his other hand crushes a small stack of components, casting flesh to stone on Belvari. I'm going to read that. You attempt to. I'm just going to read the rules for people listening. You attempt to turn one creature that you can see within range to stone. If the target's body is made of flesh, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it is restrained as its flesh begins to harden. On a successful save, it is not affected. A creature restrained by this spell must make another Constitution saving throw at the end of each turn. If it successfully saves 3 times, the spell ends. If it fails to save 3 times, it is turned to stone, and the subject it is subjected to the petrified condition for the duration. In this case, the duration is 1 minute. Successes and failures don't need to be consecutive. It's the same mechanism as death saves. And if the creature is physically broken while petrified, it suffers from the same deformities, similar enough, when it returns to its state. If you maintain your concentration on the spell, let's see. Okay. And then it just basically tells about what goes away. And Matt, can you tell me, or Josh, either of you DMs, how do I know what the saving throw is? What the difficulty is?
What does it say?
It's a con saving throw.
Yeah, so that's going to be against the caster's spell save DC.
Okay, let me get that.
Which is a 8 plus his proficiency bonus plus his modifier, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second.
So he's going to have a spellcasting stat like either intelligence, wisdom, or charisma.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And it's going to be that modifier plus his proficiency bonus plus 8.
Okay. You're doing a con Belvari saving throw against a 13.
Okay. This is good. Con is my best stat. Plus 4.
Love it.
Let's go.
13.
What'd you get?
13.
13. Tie goes to who? I can't remember this rule.
If you make it, you meet it. If you meet it, you beat it. If you meet it, you beat it.
Belvari, you see his hand rise up, and you feel crawling over your flesh this crackling sort of sensation, but you're able to tense and stave it off. You have it's not able to sort of take root into your flesh. You can definitely tell this was a major danger.
Gotcha.
And he still stands there, he's doing that. That's his action.
He's not running.
He does not run past you. He seems undaunted by a lion in front of him.
Gotcha.
Though he's also not running past you to let you attack him. It is now Diamondback's turn.
I continue 30 feet in the direction that I saw Spolash go. I only want to go as far until I see Spolash.
You can see him.
How far have I gone?
Sorry. Going your about 25 feet will round that corner.
Okay, cool. So I go 25 feet around the corner. I see Spolash. Is it apparent now that he's got a metal hand?
He's holding it up.
Okay, awesome. I see the metal hand, and
does he see
and that is when the
shake off the spell?
Probably not. He's not there in time, I would think. I don't think he would notice what happened.
So the next thing that happens is Diamondback sees the metal and he goes, "I knew it!" And I gathered up all these ingredients for heat metal because they've always got armor on.
Mm-hmm.
and this guy's no exception. So he's going to get hit with a heat metal spell. Choose a manufactured metal object, such as a metal weapon or a suit of heavy or medium metal armor that you can see within range. You cause the object to glow red hot. So his hand begins to glow red hot. Any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d8 fire damage. Should I just go ahead and roll 2d8?
Yes.
He's in physical contact with the hand, right?
He is.
When I cast the spell, he gets a tasty 11 points of damage.
All right.
And until the spell ends, I can use a bonus action on each of my subsequent turns to cause this damage again. So another 2d8 for me until 1 minute is up. If a creature is holding or wearing the object and takes damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or drop the object if it can. So that's going to be, he's going to have to do a save against a 13.
If he can drop it.
If he can drop it. This will be like, right.
Okay.
We will find out a thing.
Okay. He has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of my next turn.
Okay.
Or until he manages to doff. So like armor and stuff takes a certain amount of time to doff.
Yeah.
Which usually takes longer than this spell lasts.
Sure.
But if he can figure out a way to get it off of himself, then he would be able to drop it and not have disadvantage anymore. But he's got disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
He doesn't howl in pain, but you can hear him groaning about it, and all you do hear that kind of sound, and you hear him grunt out loudly, "Get in here!" It is Yoshika's turn.
Okay, so I'm around the corner or not yet?
Yeah, you're not around that corner.
Okay.
You can make it around that corner in about 25 feet, 20 feet.
Okay, I'm going to go around the corner and cast Hold Person on him.
Okay.
He has to roll a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Or be paralyzed for... What's the duration? 1 minute.
Okay. He does not succeed. He feels himself stiffening, and you can hear angry sounds as he stiffens. Take his pouch as we go. It is...
What all does paralyzed do? Is he unable to...
Hold person.
Hold person is the thing. He...
I think he said it gets the paralyzed effect.
Yeah, the paralyzed effect, which in this case...
Can't move or speak.
Incapacitated, can't move or speak, automatically fails strength and dexterity savings throws. Attack rolls against have advantage. Any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if the attacker is within 5 feet.
Gotcha. And he can't take... Obviously, he can't take attack of opportunity.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, it is... Yoshika just went. It is Inkatink's turn.
So Inkatink now is at the back of the party.
But you have the Expeditious Retreat.
But I have Expeditious Retreat.
You have to use it as your bonus action. She gave you the components.
But that gives you next time you'd be able to bonus action dash.
And you actually can use it immediately, it says.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So as a bonus action, I use it. And then I move 40 feet. And that would get me to the point of... so basically what I'm going to do is move until I am just past Spolash and everybody, but can look around the corner. And I'm going to fill that, 25 feet worth of hallway with my last spike growth.
Sorry,
and
wait.
so now... Go ahead.
The hallway...
It's a good idea.
Which hallway?
Basically, everybody has had to run a good little way to get to the part where Spolash is.
Yeah.
Inkatink's going to fill that entire length of hallway or whatever with more spike growth,
And about
so
10
that
feet
anyone
of that,
trying to
and about
Go
10
ahead.
feet of that is hallway coming out of the chamber. The rest of that, the next 25-ish feet, is just part of the big main
Okay.
cavern.
And so he's going to fill that area between us and them with more spike growth just to make it more difficult for them to catch up with us.
But not up to where you guys are running.
Yeah, I'm not going to cast it onto us, but basically
sure.
right up to the edge of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
he's going to pick 20 feet away from us and have this basically go past Spolash and hopefully have the spike growth catch up with Spolash.
So you can
we're all
then
fast.
move. What's your movement?
Well, now it's 40, right? Because
Originally,
it goes up
what
by
was it?
10.
Well, it was 30?
It was 30, now it's...
Okay. When you cast this spell, and then as a bonus action, you can dash. But dash is your regular movement. So you can move 30, then you can
Sorry,
dash.
I thought that with Expeditious Retreat, your move speed just goes up.
No, I just read you the rule is just one sentence.
Oh, okay,
This spell allows you to move an incredible 2 sentences at an incredible pace when you cast the spell, and then as a bonus action on each of your turns until the spell ends, you can take the dash action, which means you can run, you can dash, and you can dash again, which means 120 feet of movement if you only move. In this case, you're doing an action instead of dashing, so you'll do the action and you get 60 feet of motion.
Right. So he's gonna basically move. He's gonna take the stuff, run, cast the spike growth, and then keep running. And he's gonna try to catch up to Orvin.
That puts you right where Spolash and Belvari are.
Okay.
Right in that same space.
So he's gonna catch up to them and put spike growth behind them to cover the area.
Okay.
Okay.
It is now Belvari's turn.
Okay, so Belvari moves backwards 18 feet.
Okay.
He will then pounce.
Okay.
Which is move 20 feet straight towards the creature, and I will attack it with a claw attack. If I hit him, he will be knocked prone, and I get advantage because he's paralyzed.
Watch out for the hand, it's red hot.
And it will be a crit. If you hit, it'll be a crit.
Right.
Both 11s. So it's 11 plus claw 5. 16 to hit.
That you rolled with advantage.
Yeah, they were both 11s.
Okay. That does not hit.
Okay.
What does that look like
hit.
then?
I just miss as I.
He's trying to dodge that hot iron fist, and he strikes out at him, but catches his cloak instead.
Yeah, and so I will then, continue on. I have 50 feet, so 20 plus 18 is 38. So then, 12 more feet. I'll just go past him 12 feet.
You're just running out.
Yeah.
Okay. That gets you... Sorry, you have 12 more total feet?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see Talad ahead of you, but you're not with him yet.
Gotcha.
It is Talad's turn. Talad, you can see the opening in front of you.
All right. Talad is going to keep running and hopefully get outside.
Okay. Running will get you to the exit. Dashing will get you out of it.
Talad's going to dash out of there.
Okay.
Just
you burst out,
bolting.
And the people behind you, it is light out. The people behind you can see you go towards that light and then disappear as you leave the magical sort of visible thing. Good. It is now Toll's turn.
Okay, so Toll, if I use Expeditious Retreat, I have movement and then a regular action left, right?
You'll have movement, a regular action, and you can also dash an additional bonus action this turn.
Okay, right.
So you can move 90 feet.
Yeah, so I will do that. I will cast Expeditious Retreat, keeping Neno over my shoulder, I guess, and As I run past Spolash, I am the last party member to do so, right?
No, Diamondback and Inkatink is right there with him, with Spolash. Belvari has just run past. Inkatink has made it just to Spolash.
So I actually kind of backed towards.
Oh, you went.
And so I'm 18 or 12 feet, kind of behind.
Oh, you're back behind Spolash. Sorry, I got the direction wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you in order. You pass Diamondback, then Yoshika, then Belvari, then Spolash. Sorry, no, then Spolash and Inkatink. And you make it part way to where Talad is, which is, you can see him going out the exit. You expect that on your next turn, you'll easily make it out the exit if you continue at this pace.
Okay. I don't have any expeditious retreat ingredients that I can give them as I pass them.
But Neno does.
Neno does, yeah. Can she do that right now, or?
Yeah, your turns are roughly concurrent.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. So I'll just keep running and let her do her thing.
And that's Toll. Neno, is that what you're going to do? And I'll let you do 3 again.
Okay.
So you've already given one to Inkatink. You're going to pass in order Yoshika, then Diamondback, and then Inkatink. But Toll's taking. I mean, he's bolting out.
And I pass Belvari, right?
And you pass Belvari, yes.
Okay.
In lion form.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to those 3 as I pass, and I'm like assertively just going to crush it on them as I pass, smash, and then smash right on him, and so it is crushed in contact with his body.
On your turn, if you're a willing receiver of that, I'll let that happen this time. That's a good. That sounds fair. So if you could resist it if you wanted, and it wouldn't affect you. Just telling you. Okay, let's. It's 10:10, but let's do one more quick bit here because we're right at this part. It is Spolash's turn. He has to make a save, right?
No, he's just stuck for a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, he already failed his save.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like every turn like the other one. What was the thing you cast on him?
Hold person.
Hold person, okay. So for Spolash's turn, nothing happens. At the end of each of its turns, the target can make another wisdom savings throw.
Oh, yeah.
On a success, the spell ends.
And there's a saving throw to drop the thing. Oh, wait, but he can't drop it, so never mind.
What's the saving throw here?
14.
He does not pass the saving throw.
And it's at the end of his turn.
It's the end of his turn.
Yeah.
Even if he did, he couldn't do anything. It would have been the end of his turn. But he didn't pass. He's still frozen there. It is Diamondback, your turn.
We're at the top of the order?
Yep. Neno smashed, as she passed you, an expeditious retreat compound of things against you. If you receive that willingly, you can take that.
I receive it willingly.
Right now, you just have the power to run.
Okay, but that doesn't take up an action or anything of mine. Awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna just stroll 30 feet towards the exit.
Using
I guess
movement?
I'll pass by Spolash, right?
You will.
Yeah, and so just as I pass him, he's gonna get another magic missile.
Okay. That's your action.
Yeah. So let me just reduce those.
And then you'll also be able to run further as a bonus action if you like.
I actually have a better use for my bonus action.
Okay.
So that's going to be 10 points of damage from magic missile.
Okay. He makes no response, but it's because he's paralyzed.
And then
Take all the damage you need.
my heat metal spell has not ended yet, so I can use a bonus action to cause the 2d8 fire damage again, which is going to be 9.
Okay.
And I continue the rest of my 30 feet.
Okay. Let me do that 9. Sorry, 1 second.
Actually, I'm going to stay. 10 feet away from him. I don't want to go further than 10 feet from him.
Okay. Good. Yoshika?
You see Yoshika's staff laced with this blue glow as he says, "Come back and help me finish this fool." And I just whack at his head. Actually, first I'm going to take his pouch and then whack his head.
You can rifle through his stuff to take his pouch, but that'll be your action. You got to find it and grab it.
Okay, I'll whack his head.
Okay. Roll your attack.
12.
It does not hit. It doesn't land in a damaging way. Did you do it with advantage?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bummer. I'm having a hard time imagining like some guy just standing there totally paralyzed and us going up knowing he's paralyzed and like missing.
Yeah.
But that's the rule.
It happens.
He's got a really good set of armor on. You probably clanged off of his
You
breastplate.
hit him and not
Yep.
hit him.
You
Right,
hit him,
yeah.
but his armor class was higher than the amount of damage you were able to inflict in the way that you hit him.
That helps, yeah.
That is Yoshika, your turn.
Let's see. Was I at him?
Yeah,
You
you're
just hit
within
him.
your shillelagh range.
You ran up
Did
to him
I-
on your movement.
Okay.
You did that, and as a
I
bonus
used my
action,
bonus
you can
action.
finish dashing, or you can stay there with Diamondback and try to fight him.
I gotta stay there because my bonus action was using the shillelagh.
Okay. Sorry, wait, no. Expeditious Retreat allows you to... The bonus action that happened allows you to use Expeditious Retreat immediately. So
If you want.
it's a special dispensation of Expeditious Retreat on the time it gets used. So you are able to do it if you want. You just choose stay or go.
Okay. And it's not a bonus action.
It's like a special...
In the
bestowment.
future, it will be a bonus
Yeah.
action, but this time it isn't.
Okay. I'm gonna stay.
Okay. And that's Yoshika. Inkatink, your turn. You're in the background.
Inkatink is going to is gonna pickpocket the guy to try to if I make a sleight of hand check, would that speed that up and make it take less than my full action, or would that still be my action?
It's your action to do it.
Okay, then Inkatink's gonna take an action to try to strip the guy of his component pouch and or money bag or whatever he can, get.
Okay, and are you going to... So you're going to run up to him, which is only about 15 feet. Do that as your action. Roll me a sleight of hand on a DC with advantage, because he's paralyzed and whatever, on a DC 14.
Okay, yeah, I got an 18.
Okay,
So
you do manage to lift his pouch off of him.
okay.
Do you want to stay there with these other two, or do you want to bolt out after?
No, he's gonna stay.
Okay.
Inkatink takes his stuff, and you see him reach into his component pouch, and you see him pull out a component. And to the very savvy, you would realize that the component will create bonfire to be cast.
Okay.
That's a good one in combination with hold person.
Yeah. And Belvari?
Oh.
Okay, Belvari backs up 8 feet so that he is 20 feet away and pounces.
All right.
I love it.
Inkatink ducks.
Natural 20.
All right.
The only appropriate bird conflation for
So it's a
Inkatink.
total
might I
of
point out.
25, if that matters. Okay, so that is a hit of 1d8 plus 3.
It's a crit.
Oh, and so what is that? Is it 2?
That means you rolled a 1d8 twice.
Gotcha.
2d8
plus 3. And he has also automatically failed his DC 13 strength saving because he's held.
Yep.
And so he's prone.
Okay.
So 7 plus 5 plus 3 is 15.
15. Ouch.
Ooh, nasty.
Because he is prone, I can now make a claw attack.
Yes.
Which is plus 5 to hit.
Okay.
Exfoliate. Exfoliate.
14 plus 5, 19.
You do hit.
Okay, and that is... and is it automatically crit because he's...
It is.
held?
Yes.
Okay, so 2d6.
Okay.
Plus 3. So 12. And then,
All right.
And then I will continue out to 20 feet.
Past him.
Yeah.
His bouncing range.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see. That was Belvari. It is now Talid, your turn. You are able to get out.
Talid is
In the previous one, you disappeared out.
Yeah. Talid's gonna keep running a bit and sort of notice that there doesn't seem to be anyone chasing him.
Let me describe real quickly. Two things. One, you know that the Great River is about a 20-minute jog to the north. You all would remember that if you do remember that. That came up in the conversation when you all were talking about the river. 20-minute jog to the north. Talid, you also recall that the assistant or whatever he was to now you know Spolash mentioned the beast should arrive tomorrow. Coming from the south, all from the south, a huge army of creatures ready for combat, being driven by Iron Bell.
From the river?
No, from the south.
South.
Converging on this spot. So here, y'all are on a wedge like this. The river y'all passed. There's a river like this. Y'all are around here-ish. Sorry, the bad audio, but just for speed, around here-ish. To the north is the river, and creatures are coming this way, towards Spolash. Talid, and you all don't act on this knowledge, but Talid, you heard Spolash say, "Get in here!" And Iron Bell and beasts are starting to pour towards the entrance.
How close are they? I mean, I guess,
You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How close are they?
You guys don't know this, but Talid, you escape with your life because you're like a turn after. You just bolt past them. They're moving towards it, trying to figure out how to get in exactly. But there are a lot. They see you emerge. They come out. You don't count, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
They see me emerge. Are they like surprised that I emerged, or are they?
They're surprised, but they don't care about you. They were told to get in here.
And the entrance is hidden.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to run because.
Which direction?
Not in the direction of the monsters. Just take that direction
north.
And just invert it entirely. And there you go.
So you're going to run north.
Yeah.
All right.
In 120 combat turns, we'll make
and so Talid starts to run north. It is now Toll's turn. Toll, are you going to move?
Yeah.
You emerge very quickly. You were right behind Talid because of how quickly you're moving. It only takes you about 10 feet to burst out and see the same thing that Talid just saw. But in no time, if you keep running, you'll be able to go a good 90 feet. You're going to pass Talid because he's doesn't have the expeditious retreat. He's running north, and you see a large number of Iron Bell and creatures from the south. Kind of from a whole bunch of directions on the south.
So once he gets out and he sees that, well, before I say this, let me clarify something with my staff. It says to cast each spell, one magic component with at least one spell level of magic must be consumed. Does that just mean any component that I have known spells for?
You don't
I
even
just
have to know.
use
It just
one of
has to
those?
have it on there. It just has to have magic in it.
Okay. Great.
That means you can't just take like a random fig that's not magical and use it.
Gotcha. Okay. So I will see this horde, and Toll will look back into the tunnel and shout, "He's got an army. We have to go." And I will cast with my staff Wall of Thorns. Going, how do I describe this visually? Like parallel from the exit of the tunnel out, to sort of make a wall that they have to get around before they can get to us.
Okay. Some of them will be past that. Not most of them. I mean, there's a huge number of people. Some of them will be past it. Most of them will not be.
Well, so I'll cast it however I have to then, if it's at an angle, like to sort of, create a line between us and them. I guess it doesn't have to be parallel necessarily.
So what I'm saying, just so you know, that there are a handful of them swarming around the entrance trying to figure out how Talad and Toll and Neno just burst out. They're trying to do the opposite of that. But most of them aren't there. Most of them are further away. There's not going to be a way you can make it that doesn't just go across the entrance. And
Gotcha.
Would be
Okay.
hard. But you can cut off most of them.
Yeah, I'll do whatever I have to maximize the effect, I guess.
Sounds good.
And then anyone caught in the wall, what is it? Each creature within its area must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 7d8 piercing damage, or half that much on a successful save.
And it's tell me if I'm wrong, but it is 40 feet long.
It is up to 60 feet long. So I will use 60 feet, make it 10 feet high and 5 feet thick.
And I'll let you bend it if you want. It can be, in an arc or something.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that would
Some
make it harder
optimal
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make it harder for them to get around. So I'll kind of try to pincer movement them with the Wall of Thorns, I guess.
Yep. And that's your bonus action? Sorry, that's
your
action?
That's an action, yeah.
Okay. And what do you do for your bonus action? Do you want to go to where Talad is?
Yeah, I'll continue to move away from the horde towards Talad, but I'll keep checking over my shoulder to see if the others have made it out.
Sounds good. And you catch up to Talad, just catch up to him. Neno, you can do Expeditious Retreat for Talad if you want. He's the last one.
Yeah, I do want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I not get any of them in the wall?
No, you did. I'll take care of that in aggregate. But
gotcha.
You got quite a few.
He wanted to roll.
Okay. We will do that. However, to be respectful of time and stuff, it's 10:30.
Gotcha.
And we will pick up next time with... I'll set the stage here. Next time we're going to pick up with rolling the... What do you call them?
Damage.
Dice?
No. Yes, but rolling to see about the guys caught up in the enemies caught up in the wall. Yoshika doesn't know it. Yoshika, Diamondback, Inkatink, and Belvari don't know it, but there are a dozen-ish bad guys.
Didn't he yell?
Yeah, we know.
Didn't he yell? He has an
Oh, he has an
army
army.
to us.
That you now know, and
He has an army. We've got to go. He said.
that's right. So we will pick up with. I'm going to keep the same turn order. It'll be Spolash's turn, and then because he's the last one of this, and then we'll go back into turn order, and I will have pre-made initiative for other interested parties who are going to see if anybody
Makes it
is
out
still
of that
left
room.
in the corridor. Thanks, everybody. That's where we'll end this episode. Thank you so much for listening. You can get more details about the world and the story we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. Let me transition us. That's over here.